Okay, this is a general video about the condition of my country and the world. We have a problem, and I will draw it back to, on the face of it, feminism. Again, this has to be dealt with, okay? And we all have to deal with it. We all have to face it and figure it out and stamp it out. Feminism is causing a complete abandonment of responsibility, especially among our menfolk, the men in our society, and it's spreading, and it's being actively spread with the intention of undermining men in all of our countries, so that a group of people can try to install a one world government. And what gets in their way is countries, as you can imagine. They don't want countries in the way. They would have them as provinces of their one world government, which is what they're trying to act as though is the case already, even though it isn't. And people who get in their way are demonized. Now, I don't care about Putin at all. If he minds his own business, I don't care. I have no interest in Russia. If what he does directly threatens my country, then that's a different matter. But my point here is that he is heavily demonized by our media, because our media, I mean, look, our country should definitely, we should have an opinion on other countries' leaders, sure. But who's our leader? Who's the leader of Russia? Putin. Who's the leader of Britain? Nobody, or at least no one at face value, should we say? The prime ministers that we have, they're not leaders. Not at all. There's no leadership in them. They are not allowed to make decisions. The moment they make a decision that someone disapproves of, they get booted. That's not a leader. A leader has to have power, otherwise they can't lead. So our prime ministers are not leaders. So who's in charge of our country? Who's in charge? It must be a committee somewhere that we don't see, that we don't get to have any part in, because I don't see any leadership in my country at all. I don't feel any leadership. Not at all. The decisions that are being made are not in my country's interest. Flooding us with foreigners is a decision. You have to make a decision. If you have a country, you're in control of your front door. You're in control of your borders, right? If you're not in control of your borders, you don't have a country. And look around you. If you are English, look around you in the UK. We are awash with foreigners. I don't want them here. I don't want them here. And to say that, I would be labelled as, they've got a label for everything, xenophobic. No, not at all. I just don't want foreigners all over my country. That's why we have a word, foreigner, because they're not our people. That's a very important thing for a human being, for any society, to know who is and who isn't part of their team, of their group. Oh, well, we're all human beings. Well, the same thing applies. If we're all human beings, then why don't you invite every single person in the world into your house to have everything you have? Because it doesn't work that way. There is inequality in the world, in reality. That's part of life. And artificially trying to install it won't work. It goes against nature. Now, you may not like this, but it's the truth. The strong survive. The weak perish. That's not because anyone's being mean. That's just nature. Nature is over and above us. That doesn't mean that we shouldn't help each other. Yeah, we should. But what's being done at the moment isn't done in the name of helping everybody. It's done in the name of weakening nations. And nations are all we've got. Before that, what do we have? Little kingdoms, tribes, but we all have groups, and they all have cultures. We have different ethnicities. Now, what is ethnicity? It's a group of different things, but I'd say largely it's culture. And culture comes from a central point and grows outwards. And if different cultures clash, they clash. That's why we have a term, culture clash. Now, England, Britain, the United Kingdom, there are different words for the little countries that we have in this group of islands. So it's tricky, because a Scotsman would not want to call himself an Englishman. So I'll go with British, but sometimes I might say English. We have our own cultures. We have our own culture. Yes, we have different regions in our country, but we have, if I meet an Englishman in a foreign country, immediately we have a bond, because we have our own culture that we can revert back to mentally. We can look to it and say, okay, this is who we belong to. And that's important for human beings, and it's being attacked and undermined by people who are intent upon introducing what they call multiculturalism. Multiculturalism just means the destruction of the initial culture that's there. That's what it is. You've got a culture of people, right, who largely understand what's expected of them, and you mix it up and destroy it by introducing lots of other cultures so no one knows who they are anymore. And the example I would use is the United States. It started off as British America. Yeah, there were people who had emigrated there from different countries. When I look at the United States, I don't see a place that has any idea of their own culture. I've visited the United States a couple of times, and every time I've walked around, it's just artificial. It's kind of sticky and icky. You know, I don't want to disrespect the people there, I'm sorry, but that's how it feels. If you're in a European country, you can feel the heritage, you can feel the depth of history that's caused the cultures there. That's why the European Union doesn't work, and the people who try to install it, and imagining that it would go the same way as the United States, have missed the complete point. That's the origin of everything that we call the modern world. Everything comes from here. Everything. It's spread outwards. Yes, there were different areas of the world where humans were developing, blah blah blah, but the point is that nowadays the European way is how the world is run. That's how it is. And that came from thousands of years of development. So what we have is a situation where people are trying to attack that, pretend it doesn't exist. Well, it does exist, very much so. And they're trying to attack it by undermining our leadership. And looking around us, they've made progress. Progress, shall we say. But progress towards destruction is not progress. They would call things progressive. Yeah, progressive towards their plan of destruction. They're trying to destroy us and take over. It's up to us to stop it. We're in a war right now that we are not even aware of. Well, most people aren't aware of, but we are in it. And people have been made soft so as to allow it to happen. That's part of these people's plan, obviously. And part of it is feminism. Because if you soften the men, what are they going to do? So it's up to men now in our countries to become strong again. Decisive. Not wishy-washy, not worrying about upsetting people. Being strong. And that's why I'm so emphatic about this. Feminism is a tool of these people which is being used to destroy our countries. And countries are all we got. All we got. All we've got. They're all we have. Everything that your forefathers fought and died for is being attacked through a different route. You might argue from within, but it's not us who are doing it. It's people who have a vested interest in destroying our nations so that they can run the world. But they don't belong in that position. We belong in position of running our countries. The other day I was talking to someone, incidentally a foreigner, and I was talking about the situation in England, and he was in complete agreement. He observed everything I observe, the complete degradation of our society. And I said to him, what we need right now is strong leadership. And he said, yeah, I completely agree. Now, we don't have at the moment leadership. I'll do it. I'd happily do it. We need strong leadership in our country. What's happened with the royal family? In my opinion, honestly, I think the royal family has fallen victim to blackmail. I think that the people who are doing this to us have targeted our royal family and lured them, members of that family, into doing stuff that's not right, and then they've recorded it, shall we say, and they're holding our own royal family to ransom. You don't hear anything from the royal family at all. Nothing at all. Now that's part of the backbone of our heritage, like it or not. We have a decision to make, and we have a conflict brewing, and that's between people who want our country to survive and be strong, and there's a hell of a lot of us, and there are people who would happily sell out our country, malcontents, people who don't have any loyalty to us. This is the truth. I'm not saying anything that's not true at all. This is the truth. There are people who love our country, and a lot of them have been demoralised, and the way they're being demoralised is through the media. Turn the blimmin' television off, people. Turn it off. Be selective about the media that you expose yourself to, because the people who are doing this to us are using the media to do it. And they are eroding our customs, our culture, our way of being. Look around you. I, as an Englishman, I'm sick to death of seeing young girls sitting on their backsides on the road, on the pavement. That would never happen when I was younger. Never. And to my mind, it's an indication that they are begging to be told, excuse me, better is expected of you. Stand up. We have to police each other. That's what culture is. We say that's beneath what's expected. Bring your standards up. But we are being encouraged in the name of liberalism, which is another weapon that's being used against us, to overlook these things. Oh, it doesn't matter because. Oh, don't be responsible because. We have to be responsible. We have to be responsible, just like our forefathers were. That's who policed and upheld society. And that's how polices and uphold society all around the world. It's us who are being targeted massively so as to undermine our forthrightness in this regard. And we need to maintain it, uphold it, recover it, and stand by it. We have to do this. It's an illness. We have to be strong. We have to recover exactly what we are. We're the British, the strongest people in the world. We better buck our ideas up, because at the moment we're becoming a laughing stock, and we are not in a strong condition. We have to figure this out. We have to stop this problem right now and reverse it entirely. And that's strength. That's leadership. And that's what we need badly. And we all are responsible for doing it. And I'm telling you, you can attack me if you want to. I don't care. I'm telling you, this is what we need to do. Other people need to also voice this and speak it. We all need to work together on this. There is no other way. I won't watch this nonsense continue. So I'm not just complaining about one or two little things. This is a big problem we've got, and we have to fix it.